have with us Mr. Anurag from KPMG, a senior manager in strategy and operations. So, welcome, sir, to the Pre-Play Stock series. And would you like to tell us something about yourself before we start with the formal questions?
So, just as a brief background, I was born and brought up in Delhi NCR. I did my schooling as well as undergrad from Gurgaon, and then I did my MBA from IIM Indore. Right, and from the very start, I had some interest in strategy, and that's how I've focused on strategy consulting as my career at the moment. And let's see how it goes forward. But from what I understand, if you have a logical frame of mind, which I had it from the very starting, and you like solving problems, then strategy consulting would be a good fit. And which is what I figured out about myself since undergrad. So that's how this career came to me naturally.
That's
apart from that,
yeah.
Apart from that, I would also like to highlight that I am keenly interested in data and analytics and digital transformation, and a lot of new technologies which are coming up. We are getting famous or popular within the consulting environment. So that is also something which we look keenly forward to.
Wow, that's really wonderful to hear, especially when something comes naturally. So moving on with our conversation, the first question I have for you is, what is your current position exactly and what do you work on in it? Like, we always hear strategy, but give us a real insight about it.
Sure, that's a great question because, and in college and when we're very young, we do fancy the word strategy, and it appears to be a very sort of, aspirational profile. But when you actually get down to work, it's actually quite different ground. So let me give you, some details about how it works and what exactly do we mean when we say strategy, right? So when we talk about big consulting firms like KPMG, Deloitte, or McKinsey, which is anyone, right? So what clients do is all companies, right? They want to understand what is good for them for the future, right? They are doing something right now. They don't know whether it will work in the future or what else they should do to beat the competition, right? So to assist these clients, to tell them what to do in the future, that essentially, forms a part of strategy. I know this strategy can be in multiple forms. It can be just corporate strategy, where you're telling the client what to do over a 5 or 10 year horizon. It can also be just telling them a new country to enter. Let's say they want to just enter any new country, right? So that could be one form of strategy. Or let's say they want to figure out a new product for them, new product line for them, right? Which they should manufacture. That could be one form of strategy, right? Another form of strategy is human resource strategy. How could they focus on human resources? What kind of trainings? What new hires they should look at, right? So anything and everything which you can think of, which will help the company grow its market position or increase its revenue or profits, that comes as a part of strategy. Of late, as I just mentioned, digital transformation and data analytics has become a core part of any business, and a lot of companies are trying to focus digital strategy as the core business function. So that's exactly what we do. In fact, in the last 2 to 3 years, a lot of projects have focused on corporate strategy with inputs from data analytics. So that's how the market is going.
Okay, thank you for that insight. It was like something truly different, apart from what we read on Google or any other search engines. So I would like to ask you, what is the interview process at your current company for the role you are working at, and how many rounds are there approximately? If you could brief us up about how the rounds go on.
Right. So the interview process generally consists of 2 to 3 to 4 rounds. It can go up to 4, depending on how your previous interviews go. It can also be as low as 2, depending on how, of course, your first interview goes, right? So the process generally involves checking the problem-solving ability of a person, right? So if you apply to any strategy consulting firm, be it McKinsey, BCG, KPMG, right? Again, all the same profile strategy consulting. They'll like to check your problem-solving skills, right? That is the basic thing anyone looks at when you're trying to hire for consulting. Now, when you talk about problem-solving, there's 2 kinds of problems which are judged in the interviews. One is guesstimates, right? Now, by guesstimates, what I mean is they'll give you a small numerical case on the spot, and they'll expect you to do some logical analysis, taking some logical assumptions, and come to a number about how that market looks like. Just for an example, if I were to ask you how many petrol pumps are there in Delhi or in India right now, right? That's a guesstimate question, right? So no one expects you to know the correct answer. no one can figure out the correct answer in in an interview. But what they expect you to do is flow through a logical process and take some thoughtful assumptions to reach out to a number which appears to be logical. It can be off the mark. No one really cares. It's just what they care about is what your thought process is, right? That is the first type of question. The second type of question is more famous, which is case studies. I'm sure most of you would have heard about case studies. So in case study, they'll give you a live case study on spot, and they'll expect you again to take the interview through the process of how will you solve the problem. Now, these case studies are generally actual problems that the consultant have faced in their career. Again, for an example, let's say a simple case study could be if a global Fortune 500 company based out of US, they want to enter India, right? In some specific sector, let's say FMCG, soaps, right? And they want an answer from you, yes or no, and if yes, how to go about it. That's like a case, right? So they'll expect you to lay down your structure and then take them through the process of how will you solve this problem. That's the second part. Case study, first part was guesstimate. Now this is the technical part, but of course, what other thing which is very important is in consulting interviews is your information about the world around you, right? So it's mostly about how updated you are with current affairs and how you can speak about random topics to anyone, right? So when you are a consultant, you're expected to go to clients, right, and build a very good relationship with them, right? So you can only do that when you can speak about as many topics as you can, right? So the more you read, more wide, diverse knowledge you have, the better you are at this.
Okay.
That's the three core aspects, I would say.
Okay. So it's all with knowledge and knowledge development. Okay.
Exactly. All right.
So the interview process is something that comes later, if I'm not wrong. What comes first is the resume filtering. And I believe in such big companies, there are thousands of resumes coming in every day.
Yes.
So my next question to you is, what to look for resume in interview rounds? Like exactly what do HRs look for? How should we develop our resume?
Right. That's again a very good question, because you should remember that HRs don't have time. Right, they will get thousands of. I've been told in my own firm they get thousands of CVs on a daily basis. It's not even monthly, daily basis. But that's the kind of reference we're talking about, right? So they don't have time to read the CVs in detail. What they will generally do is look at keywords. Now it's very important to know what keywords, right? So if you're applying to, let's say, strategy consulting, you should know what kind of skill sets are required, right? And try to put those specific keywords in your CV somehow, right? For example, it can be analysis, industry analysis, data analysis, forecasting, data analytics, presentation development, or let's say if you're applying to some particular industry, consulting in some particular industry after some relevant experience, then try to focus on keywords in that industry, right? For example, if you're talking about energy, try to focus on wind power, solar power, right? And similarly, similar keywords which are there for that industry. Thirdly, when you're talking about your CV in your previous work experience should reflect the kind of work which you have done, which is helpful in consulting. So, for example, if you've done a project which is sort of similar to consulting, let's say there was an internal project where you helped the team figure out what to do in the future. It could be a new product, it could be a new technology, some cost improvement in your team, right? Some efficiency improvement, or anything related to some problem, right? Just focus on what was the problem, how did you contribute, and that should be the core of it. Instead of just saying that your responsibility was team management. That is a very generic statement to say no one cares about that. Everyone does that, right? So be very specific. Focus on the team you're applying to and the skill sets they require, and use those keywords in the CV. In fact, of course, but I'll also recommend that you take up a CV designing session with experts. A lot of people do that on demand. I have also done that. So you do, if you're their seniors, their alumni, which you're in touch with, show your CV to them who are in the same domain, and they'll give you very, very important insights how to improve them.
Okay, sure. Guidance can actually make us improve a lot. So just like you mentioned that develop those skill sets or, have relevant experience in that domain. My next question to you comes that, are there any specific courses or resources you would like to mention for students or aspirants who are like going into this domain or aspiring to go into this domain? Because let's say if we talk about freshers who are right out of college, they might not have an experience, but they can obviously do the courses. So is there any courses, any resources you can share with us?
Yes. So be proactive in that. There are multiple sources of information available. Nowadays, LinkedIn Learning, Coursera, edX are very popular, very popular. And if you put some relevant skills, from these courses in your CV, it will make some difference. I'm not saying that will guarantee a shortlist. That it will not. Right? What guarantees a shortlist is your work experience, which you don't have, right, as a fresher. So what will matter in that context when you're a fresher is what extra effort you've made as compared to your peers in your college, right? Everyone has passed from college, right? Everyone is a fresher. Everyone has got the same degree, right? Everyone has the same degree. What extra have you done? Have you done some, let's say, data analysis course on LinkedIn Learning? Have you done some coding course somewhere? Coding might not be relevant, but I'm just saying anything. It could be, some digital transformation course on Coursera. It could be digital strategy. There's courses on strategy also, right? So do make a point that you have, extra skill sets. If they could be a detailed list of such skill sets which you can acquire, and do again reach out to alumni and experts what skill sets you should focus on. But let me also tell you, two major ones are Excel skills. Excel skills are very basic, right? I don't think any college will teach you that, but you need to do that hands-on. I also learned it in my job here, right? But if you have definitely have inclination towards this, do make it a point that you have Excel skills on your resume. Presentation development, right? These are hard skills. And then soft skills are equally important. It could be personal, interpersonal skills. It could be account handling. It could be public speaking. So all these skills have value, right? So do make it a point that you're proactive in doing these courses online and get it appear on your CV.
Okay, that was really insightful. So coming back to the interview part of this round, so what are the level of questions asked? Like just like you told us types that it could be case study or it could be logical reasoning. What is the level of these questions and what are the specific types or some recurring types in the interview questions?
Right. So first of all, the level of question will depend on what position you're applying. Right? If you're a fresher, you'll be mostly applying for an analyst, right? If you have 2-3 years of work, it could be associate consulting or consulting, and higher above is assistant manager, right? So the level of questions and the in-depth knowledge will depend on what level you're applying to, right? So for now, let me assume that you are applying as a fresher out of college, right, as an analyst, which is a starting position. So they will not give you a very tough case study or very tough guesstimate, but they will like to figure out basically if you're made for consulting, right? So if you have that knack of problem solving. So I'm sorry, what is the second part of the question?
What is the specific recurring types of questions? Like, let's say case study. So would you like to give us a little more insight on how can a student write a case study? Because let's say we have not done that much into that domain. So even if we are given one, then how should the format be? How should we go ahead by writing it? Like, how should we write it?
Right. So firstly, it's not writing. They'll give you an oral case study and you have to solve it orally. So you don't have to write it. You have to explain to the interviewer orally. So, what I will suggest is anyone who's interested in these kind of roles, go on Google and search out case study preparations. There's enough of material available, right? And some of the colleges, top colleges in India, ISB, IIMS, and all, they do publish consulting handbooks where they give actual cases given out to people during interviews and how did they solve it, right? So that's the first thing you should do. Just Google out and read about it. Secondly, if you have a good book, let's say I used to refer to this book called Case in Point. Case in Point is a very famous book which lays down the structures of all kinds of cases which are possible and the possible solutions you can have, right? So it will give you around 12 to 15 cases which are generic and which are asked generally, right? So, for example, the market entry case study, which I just told you, that if a company wants to enter a new country or new market, how should they go about it, right? The second one could be, let's say, a company wants to acquire a company in the same country. So, whether they should do it, right? Yes or no, and if yes, how should they go about it? That is the second type of question. Third thing could be, let's say, a company wants to increase its revenue or increase its profit. How should they go about it? So at an analyst level, these are the kind of easy case studies which you will definitely get, right? They are around 10 of such basic case studies you will easily find on any consulting book, right? But such solution to this can be customized based on the industry they are asking about. But at an analyst level, it should be just a general approach which you should take.
Okay, that was really insightful. Like, even we got to know that we don't have to write anything; we have to speak it out. So, coming towards our last question, I would like to ask you, even though people, students, aspirants prepare a lot, they end up making some common mistakes. So, what are the common mistakes you have seen candidates make over these years of interview experience, and how to avoid these mistakes?
Right. That's again a very great, a great question to ask, because a lot of people aspire for consulting and they do prepare, but a lot of people don't make it past the first round, right? And let me tell you the basic, the reasons for that is anxiety. The major reasons for that is anxiousness and nervousness during the interview, right? You are given a problem on the spot, right? One of the major challenges in the consulting environment is how you handle pressure. Right? It's not about how smart you are. That almost everyone is intelligent in some form or other, right? You might not have got good marks, but you're still intelligent in some other manner, right? It's not about how smart you are. It's about how much pressure you can handle and how much time, let's say time-based pressure you can handle, right? So if you have practice of handling pressure, that will definitely help, right? And of course, the better prepared you are, the more confidence you will get. So I've seen a lot of people who are underconfident, right? I have been taking interviews for my own firm, and also mock interviews across platforms. So people who are not prepared, they will appear underconfident, right? They will not be speaking with conviction. That is the second thing. So first one being nervousness, anxiousness. Second one being underpreparedness, and third one being fluent in English, right? So as a fresher, you just started your college. Maybe you didn't get a chance to speak publicly in interviews, or you didn't get a chance to communicate in English, right? But here in the corporate world in consulting, that is the language which is spoken by each client and within the firm. You need to be very, very fluent with English as well as correct in grammar. I've noticed a lot of candidates, giving a bad first impression because the grammar is not to the mark. So do practice on grammar in English as well. And with respect to preparation, take some buddy or take some peer who's also interested in this and practice together, right? Because you just can't read case studies and prepare. You have to practice them with someone. So let me say that, let's say you are preparing with me. I'll give you a sample case study on the spot. You have 5 minutes to solve it, or let's say 20 minutes to solve it, and you solve it for me, right? Then I'll tell you what good you did or bad you did. That's how you prepare, right? So first level, of course, is just reading on your part, but you should have some buddies or again mentors, or you can reach out to alumni or expert who will help you prepare for case study as practice, right? But to avoid your nervousness, be prepared and improve on your English.
Okay. Thank you so much for that answer. It was truly insightful. And thank you so much for your time. So with this question, we come towards the end of our talk series and this episode of the talk series, in fact. And we're so glad to have you. Thank you for giving us such diverse answers. Yeah, which were like, none of which were repetitive, and it just gave us so much knowledge and so much, insights into the company or the type of job role you are into right now. So I would just like to thank. Yeah, sorry, please go.
So I had a amazing time speaking about my experience. I'm looking forward to helping more of candidates. So do reach out to me if you have any queries. I'm available online, offline, in modes which are on the platform. Right. Thanks a lot, Shabakri. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for your time.